Blessings, everyone, in Jesus' name. If you remember, we had started a little study in the book of Watchman Nee, The Life That Wins. And we were looking at the 8 kinds of failures among Christians. I believe we were in the 3rd one, which talks about the sins of the mind. Many may not commit sins of the spirit, and they also may have their flesh dealt with, yet they have no victory in the mind. I believe this is the most difficult to have victory over, is the mind, because it is Satan's main target. So their thoughts drift, wander, and are scattered. Some find their thoughts to be unclean or too imaginative or full of doubt or full of curiosity. They want to know everything. They cannot abide the unknown. Those have this kind of mind have not entered into victorious living. See, as long as you allow your curiosity to have the best of you, when you're curious about what's happening in other people's lives, what's going on, what did they do, all that kind of conversation in your mind. You will never enter rest if you continue like that, okay? Or if you have a very fertile imagination and you imagine things in your mind that aren't even true, okay? As a matter of fact, few actually experience victory in their mind at all. Once I met a sister who wondered why her thoughts always drifted. I also met a brother who confessed that his thoughts were continually unclean. We must deal with this area if we want to live out the life of God. Imagination or doubt damages many Christians. Suppose, for example, we meet a brother on the street whose face appears to be somewhat unpleasant. Immediately, you summarize that he must be unhappy with you. We suppose things. Like I said, our imagination runs wild sometimes. It's like, why did he look at me like that? And then you think, I must have done something. He's upset with me, but didn't have the courage to tell me what's wrong. It's just mind games, and the enemy thrives when we fall into that trap. But upon reaching his home, you come to learn that he has not slept well and his head is hurting. He had a headache. He wasn't feeling well. You had imagined he had something against you, but actually it was not that at all. How we are hurt by imagination. Yet we consider ourselves to be most discerning. I know I have a very fertile imagination. Working with children, telling them stories, inventing stories. I have this kind of dreamy kind of imagination where I can, create a fantasy world for them. But also that imagination can be good when you create good things, but it can also be detrimental if you begin to, allow it to have these kind of suspicion out of people and things like that. So we have to be very careful. Let us remember that only our Lord searches the reins and hearts. Revelation 2:23. Many falsely imagine so and so is such and such. By so doing, we have sinned in our mind. You know, when we judge people out of just their appearance, we don't know their story, their background, what they went through, and right away our mind goes, oh, well, she's like this, he's like that, you see, blah, blah, blah. And it just keeps on going like the hamster running in the wheel. We pronounce too much judgment and imagine too much for our own good. We must deal with our own minds before God. Else, how can we possibly enter into the life that wins? How can we enter into the life that wins? The life that wins is free from this type of suspicion and imaginative gossip, you know? One brother was filled with an inordinate desire to know. Okay. And because he had to know the reason for everything, he analyzed everything. Oh, I've known people like that too. His mind was truly overactive. But because he knew everything, he could not trust God. Such desire for knowledge, like these other areas of the mind, truly needs to be dealt with. Have you met people like that? I have. Why and why? Why? What was the question I received from a person like that? Is the world in such chaos because of Adam and Eve? And why we don't know what kind of fruit that Eve ate from the tree. You know, they want to know everything. And they want to analyze everything. They want to have proof for everything. Ooh, it's very exhausting to be in contact with people like that. They just drain you. And it's like, nope, I can't deal with stuff like that. So this was the description of the sins of the mind. Okay, we move on, number 4, to the sins of the body. Certain activities centering upon the physical body may be overlooked by the world, but to spiritually sensitive Christians, they may nonetheless be sinful. Some pay too much attention to eating or sleeping or hygiene or adornment of life itself. These can be sinful in God's sight. I know there was a time before I came to Christ, and even at the beginning of my conversion, where I was obsessed with nutrition and everything that was organic. I mean, I'm still careful. I'm still using wisdom to give my body the best that I can give, you know, to stick to organic fruits and vegetables and things like that. But in the past, it had become an obsession. And also, I used to work out. I used to go to the gym almost every day. And I admired people who had a very athletic body. So this could also be, you know, sinful in the eyes of God when we focus too much on our appearance. Okay? Many Christians just have to eat. They've never fasted, even once becoming Christians. Eating with them will tell you immediately what kind of person they are. As they lift up the knife and fork, you know at once what they really are. One brother I've met, for example, said that his appetite was big and special. Yes, I must say here that a lack of self-control in the matter of eating can also be a sin. The sin of gluttony. You know, that you want to eat everything you see. There's just no end to it. You allow your stomach to be your God. Some sleep just a little less than usual and they automatically look unhappy. And consequently, they become hasty in works and muddled in speech. This too is a sin. Some love to munch on food, so they spend lots of money on snacks. Others like to adorn themselves all the time. And there are some who are so hygienically minded that they are continually obsessed with a sense of danger. What is all this? What is all this? It is loving of one's own life. It represents all these behaviors mean I love my own life. I love myself. I want to look good. I want to, I don't want to get fat. I don't want to, it's all about me. It's about improving myself. It doesn't mean I neglect, and I become, wearing rags, never take a shower, look and smell bad. No, let's not go to the, other extreme. So we have to have discernment. We have to have a discipline. Many love their own life so much that they cannot bear the slightest suffering or to come too near the sick. That's proof also. I knew people who could not go visit sick people in the hospital. They were so afraid of sickness themselves, as if they would never get sick in their life and die. They were frightened by sick people. To put it quite frankly, they are under bondage to their body. That's what happens. Yet, Paul said, I buffet my body and lead it captive. It refers to 1 Corinthians. Let's check this out. 1 Corinthians 9:27. But I disciple my body and make it my slave. You got that? I disciple my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified. In other words, if I'm stuffing myself, and eating, excuse the term, like a pig, it disqualifies me. If I try to give you advice on how to eat, I have to be a mirror that you see me, you see how I eat, how I drink, how I present myself, and say, this is how it should be. Not to condemn other people, but to reflect good habits. Otherwise, like Paul says, if I don't make my body my slave, I cannot witness to others. I cannot correct them in their ways. Okay? If we allow our body to dominate us, that is sin. Our body should be under us, not above us. Many sacrifice morning prayer because they want to sleep. Many sacrifice the time for reading the Bible because they want to eat. Or it could be they want to watch their favorite program on TV. They want to go play sports, whatever it is, okay? Many cannot serve God because they covet snacks and indulge in adornment. Lack of control over these areas of the body is sinful. Okay? Shall we see another one? Sins of disposition. Disposition makes an individual. Everyone is born with a particular kind. This constitutes his special character. Nevertheless, the Lord comes to save us from our disposition as well as from our sins. Some people are born with hard and brittle characters, while others are born with a most righteous attitude. The latter kind of person acts as though he were the judge of the Supreme Court in all matters of all people at all times. Pointing the finger, you know. He may indeed be most righteous in his constitution, but he lacks gentleness and sweetness in his dealings with brethren. He's very righteous, but he is too hard. Let me say that this also is sin. I am guilty of this disposition. I was more in the past, because once I came to the truth of God, I wanted everybody in my family to also come to accepting Jesus. But I was harsh on them. I was, telling them that they believed in a false religion, that Catholicism was wrong. But the way I spoke to them was not right. And I regret that today, and I apologized. I realized that I didn't have the right approach. So I repented. And I prayed that God gives me a softer way of presenting the gospel to people. Just the opposite to the righteous man who is hard is the person who is very weak and most fearful of anything. So that to him, everything is all right. People may deem such a goody-goody person as this to be holy. But you need to ask how many such persons have been used by God. Was the Son of God a goody-goody? Was Jesus a goody-goody while on earth? The answer is obviously no. Jesus wasn't a wimp. He wasn't a goody-goody. He didn't accept everything and anything and but that's how the Catholic Church portrays him. I remember, because I was taught, this way. That's not right either. So such sins in disposition as represented by these two kinds of people need to be dealt with. Then again, though some brother may be neither hard nor soft, but desires to be heard, wherever he is, he must display himself. No matter what the circumstance, he always has to speak or to be the center of attention. People like that are very insecure, and that's why they have to, make themselves heard. They want to express their opinion. They want to be the center of attention because they're insecure. And this person will not be satisfied until he is noticed by people. He wants to project himself constantly. He cannot be a hidden person. He cannot allow people the freedom to be who they are. He's jealous. He's, he wants to prove that I'm more important, listen to me, kind of thing. Still, another believer is most timid and withdrawn. That's the opposite. Introverted, extroverted. Whenever this person is, he or she always sits in the corner and refuses to come forth. This too is a sinful disposition and needs to be dealt with. Some Christians are quick-tempered. One brother once said, I thank God that though I lose my temper quickly, I also stop quickly. In the morning I may lose my temper, but after 5 minutes it's all over. I forget all when I arrive at my office. Yet, in the wake of his hot temper, his wife and children must suffer the entire day. And when he returns home, he wonders why his wife is miserable, whereas he himself has felt quite good. This conduct is sinful and must be dealt with. Now, while some people are quick-tempered, others are never hasty. They can let a thing go undone for a day or even 10 days. Oh, doesn't matter. Though he would never defraud others, he will make very sure that others will not be allowed to defraud him. He would never hurt a person's eye or tooth, but should anyone ever try to hurt his eye or tooth, then it will become for him a matter of eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. The vengeful people. Others may not be as sharp as this man, but they may turn out to be very mean. They may not actually rob people. Nonetheless, if an opportunity presents itself for them to take advantage of others, they will do so even if it would only be a matter of a few pennies involved. By nature, some persons may be very talkative. I have that problem sometimes. I like to talk. When such people are present, they can be no silence. And what is worse, they always talk about other people. No, I know. I used to be like that. I am humbly saying that God has corrected me on that level. And when I am tempted to talk about it, I catch myself right away and say, no. I don't want to fall back into that pattern. It's very, very difficult, but we have to refrain, It's like an illustration is like taming the wild horse, that wants to take off on you, but you're the rider and you have to control the horse, And the horse represents the mind that wants to race, that wants to, it's the mind that controls what we say and all that. So we have to stop it. No, you're not going to lead me there again, horse. I don't want to go down that path. You're going to come where I tell you to go. Okay? So, though they have no intention of telling a lie, they will nonetheless often exaggerate. An exaggeration, I'm going to tell you, I've done this. It's also because of this wild imagination. Okay, so we embellish things, Even when it comes to telling others, oh, what God did for me, He did this, and we exaggerate because we want to impress people and we want to be, again, on the throne. So many areas, my friends, that we need to deal with. So such is their disposition in speech. Let us all understand that if we desire to be overcomers, we must allow the Lord to deal with us on these matters of personal character. Why do I speak about these things? it is because the life lived by many Christians is too unlike the life of God. Some brethren can only see people's faults. They cannot see any of the good qualities in others. They always talk about the shortcomings of their fellow brethren. For instance, a brother who had finally gained victory over this matter confessed beforehand that he did not understand why he always found fault with his brethren. He would look at a brother and find 6 or 7 faults in him. He would look at another brother and again he would find in that brother 6 or 7 faults. I told that person why he did this was because he himself had these same faults. That this was how his own disposition was. Whatever bothers you about somebody else, my friend, is a mirror of your own nature. You are like that, and God is exposing, the mirror. But we don't see that at first. But this is very true. It is because you yourself have the same faults. And God is using that person to expose your own faults in yourself. Okay? All these faults in disposition, character, and temperament are sins. And every Christian must live victoriously above these things, not to be defeated under them. We have 1, 2, 3 more to look at next time. In the meantime, I pray that you were blessed. And again, I encourage you to get the book, The Life That Wins. God bless you.